Hello and welcome to this very special event. A warm welcome to all viewers of Bloomberg UTV. We are at the heart of India's capital. The budget has just been announced barely, 48 hours ago. The markets are rejoicing. They've reacted very positively the very next day. This session really is about trying to understand the fine print of the budget. We call it budget economics and the investor. Clearly, budgets are made for citizens of this country. Our citizens, or should they be happy with this budget? Should investors be happy with this budget? Should us tax savers and tax payers be happy with this budget? That's what we're going to try and understand, what this really means for your wallet, what this means for your money. A very eminent panel joins me here today. We have Shailesh Bhan, who's a senior fund manager, equities at Reliance Mutual Fund, manages billions of dollars of wealth of us individuals. We have, of course, a man who needs no introduction, Subhash Lakhotia, one of India's finest tax experts. Rajiv joins us as well. He is someone who's been spearheading the financial planning movement in this country, a certified financial planner, and runs one of India's biggest distributor outfits as well. Thanks, gentlemen, all of you, for joining me today. And, of course, our audience here at the FICCI Auditorium. Thanks very much, all of you, for coming over as well. Shailesh, first question to you. We went into this budget in a very pessimistic mood. You know, there were global factors.
Sure.
Everything that could be negative is what was happening.
Sure.
Even if something happened which was positive, we thought it was negative, right?
Sure.
The budget on that day saw a huge spike up. We went up 500 odd points, then we cooled off, and the next day, boom, 600 odd points. What, according to you, from the market point of view, is the impact of the budget? Was it that I was fearing bad news and nothing happened? Or do you think there is good news at all in this budget?
I think the market certainly was having very, very low expectations on the budget. So that was one primary starting point for that. And there was also a lot of talk on inflation being high. So can the budget not focus on growth and focus only on inflation? So these were the two big, this was the big concern which people had. I think the beauty of the budget was in the sense that it continued focus on growth while it contained or tried controlling expenditure part of it. Which actually appears a very, very balanced in terms of the growth outlook which the country can have post this.
One of the biggest concerns in the market was that this whole government borrowing at the end of it, you know, to fund this growth which you mentioned, he came out with a very magical number.
Sure.
Right? And I think that excited the market because everybody thought it would be a very high number.
Sure.
Still there are question marks from all experts that will these numbers at all be met?
Sure.
Somebody remarked day before in Bombay that tab ki tab dekhenge jab time aayega. What is your sense? Is the market comfortable with the fact that it will be on track?
I think clearly these are projections for the next year. So the certainty of those numbers being met in entirety is not there. You know, at this point of time, it seems oil will be one big hit which the government will have to take over a period of time. But I think as things cool off, some of it, a large part of it can really be met. Also, we must understand that last 2-3 years, the government was looking at a very, very high expenditure level because they had to sustain the growth in the system. So with that behind us, a moderate expenditure level can lead to a reasonably balanced kind of a budget for us. So I think things should be okay. Things should not be, obviously there are issues on how the magical number will be met. But I think as time passes, it should take care of it, as you said.
Okay, now the big question which every investor and all our audience here would want to know, post this budget,
Sure.
you would have gone back and re-looked at your portfolio. Would you have moved out or decided that there are certain sectors which no longer look that attractive over the next 6 months to a year? I know you don't maybe
Sure.
take daily trading calls.
Sure.
And which are those sectors, therefore, that you've gotten bullish over? And those which you are going to be slightly more lukewarm going forward?
This budget was fairly neutral from that point of view. One was, the market expectations on auto and certain other consumer side were pretty low, thinking that, the excise duty hikes will be there in the system and all that. Given that it has not come about, there is a good positive sentiment towards that, and the valuations were clearly pretty low. As you said, there was significant correction entering into this budget. Similarly, the expectations on the infra sector, for example, infrastructure sector was very, very low. The pricing and valuations are very low relative to what the possibility this country can offer. And I think there the sentiment is actually, if not deteriorated further, things are people are saying things should be okay. So that is one area which is. In other areas, I think for example pharmaceuticals or IT, there is nothing majorly new in the budget, which is leading to a dramatic change to take a very, very differentiated call. I think it's a reasonable, sustaining, growth-creating budget, So I think the portfolio more or less remains same, and the focus on consumer is still back more strongly in this budget.
So as India's biggest fund house, managing the biggest amount of funds, what were those messages you were sending your fund managers? Buy or sell on that?
I think we don't take a budget-specific call, we were looking at it like this. The market's corrected nearly 1,000 points pre-budget in the previous 3-4 months. Once you saw that kind of a correction in the budget, I think a lot of valuations on the larger cap basis and on a market-wide basis, they started looking reasonably interesting. There were various reasons given for this correction, Obviously a correction comes with reasons. So there was a reason given to a correction saying that for this reason market is corrected. But the beauty is it made things reasonably attractive, and that's how the market celebrated the whole thing. So I think it's a pretty reasonable direction-oriented thing, and budget over a period of time is losing its relevance purely from an equity market point of view, because a lot of decisions are being taken over a period of time. The agenda is full for the government is clear, we're saying fine, we have FDI issues to be tackled in the coming parliament sessions and things like that. So I think it's been reasonable. No specific call as to just buy because of the budget, or or sell because
the valuations look attractive even now after this big jump?
They're pretty reasonable. With some time
buying opportunities even at this level?
Yes, they are reasonably good buying opportunities.
You would be a net buyer at these levels as a fund house across schemes?
Certainly.
Okay, all right. Mr. Lakhotia, on the tax front, most people seem fairly disappointed. I mean, I know that he went into this budget with the direct tax code already there, in the sense in a draft form. People expected some clarification more because that's still a draft stage. He went up from 1,60,000 to 1,80,000, trying to keep the balance to 20,000 for DTC to take care of. Are you disappointed that he could have done more from the individual's point of view, or do you think within the framework of DTC he couldn't have done anything more?
The point is, why just to ask me? Ask each and every individual in India. Ask yourself 3 important pointers on the day of the budget. Number 1, high price rise, impact of which can be felt by everyone in India. Number 2, the problem of black money, crores and crores outside India, we want to get it. And number 3, elections in 5 states of India. When these 3 things are there, naturally, it is natural for a person like me and for like all others also to expect something more. Because when these 3 problem babies are there, the only solution is give us, Mr. Finance Minister, some more money in my pocket. And Finance Minister has given us money. But how much? 2,000 rupees only.
For the year?
For the whole year, less than 5 rupees per day.
5 rupees a day?
5 rupees a day.
That's good.
And it means that the price rise is so less that in 5 rupees you'll be able to make your both ends meet. Another important point, just compare 2,000 rupees tax saving vis-a-vis high cost further rise due to service tax in various sectors with which we all are affected. That's the reason most of the tax-paying public of India, they're not at all happy. And those who are senior citizens, 65 to 80 years, they are the worst. Only 1,000 rupees, that means less than 3 rupees per day, that's it. Because you are a senior citizen, you don't need much money, so 3 rupees is perfectly okay for you.
What about his decision to, and I know you've raised this issue many times, that he lowered the senior citizen definition from 65 to 60. And I know you have said this many times, that in our country, 10 agencies have 10 different ways of deciding who's a senior citizen.
I think this year, yes.
So now 60 is the thing, but from a tax point, do you think that's...
Every year I've been shouting and pleading this cause that 60 should be reasonable. And this year I think he has been inspired, not alone by me, but by Didi. Because in the railway budget, age of senior citizen for the women, 58. So why should not the finance minister decrease the age limit of senior citizens under the income tax law? That's the reasoning.
Right.
And the big advantage, the biggest advantage, all those who are 60 plus but less than 65, they are going to have a wonderful time because they will save 9,000 rupees in comparison with last year. And those who are nearly 80 plus, they will have wonderful, the best time in whole of India. I think the government cares for them the most. 26,000 rupees income tax saving for all those who are 80 plus. So what's to be done? just become 60, enjoy the tax, take care of the health, aim for 80, you save 26,000 rupees.
Well, but I think as a principle, that was a very good decision, that if you want to incentivize anyone, it should really be our very senior citizens, people who should be taken care of.
Oh yes, definitely. It's a really wonderful, welcome decision. But what is needed was that social security scheme should have been made available right now.
Okay, Rajiv, let me come to you. Budget time, Feb and March is the time when we suddenly go back and say, oh my God, my financial planning should be done. And we've traditionally always been driven by doing our financial planning with an intention to save tax.
Yeah.
And don't you think that it should be the other way around?
In the DTC regime, budget is going to be a lesser important because there are going to be hardly any changes on the tax proposal side. So we are slowly progressing towards that. Coming to the financial planning for individuals, financial planning is basically where you are today in life, where you want to go, what are your aspirations in life, quantification of those aspirations. So your child's higher education, your lovely daughter's wedding, which is 10 years from now, it is irrespective of the budget. Now, having said this, budget does bring about some directional shift in where you're going. So hence, it is very important for you as an investor to sit with your financial planner and say, hang on, give him a week to digest the budget. Now that these changes have happened, watch Bloomberg UTV, try and digest these changes yourself and see what could be some minor changes I could bring about in my portfolio. So we, as a house, last 48 hours, we've been absorbing the budget, crunching it, and we reacted pretty much like the stock market. Initially, our first reaction was of disappointment, but as we went through the details of the proposals, we felt that it is, the three things which the country was looking for. One is continuation of the growth momentum. The second is to the inflation challenge, how to meet that in the short term, and third is to take care of the unaccounted money challenge. I think budget has at least, if not given solutions, it's made promises, given some kind of direction. And there is, one must give credit to the FM that he has shown high intent on this front. So as far as personal portfolio is concerned, there are minor tweakings, which need to be done now. And it is therefore very important for every investor to sit down with their financial planner and start, review their asset allocation once again.
Tell me, on the infrastructure bond side, there was a general feeling that this 20,000 additional over and above 1 lakh, he will extend it or increase it.
Absolutely.
He's extended it by another 1 year, but not increased it.
Yeah.
Is that an instrument that you're recommending to people?
We are seeing a very, very good profile of investors entering the, who are probably first-time investors. These are people who are coming out of saving accounts, bank FDs for the first time. It's a new vista for them. So it is a very good market.
Mr. Lakhotia, do you think that while on the one hand he announced the date for DTC, 1st April 2012, but the fact is right now we don't even know what that DTC is going to contain. There was a draft which knocked off ELSS, which knocked off, parts of insurance products. Suddenly people are asking today, what happens to my ELSS? What happens to my insurance premium? Now you've announced a date. The draft has been out in the market for the last 1 year. You just say on the floor of Parliament that standing committee report has come. You don't even know. I mean, as an individual, what do I do? Should I continue to pay my premiums? Should I continue to pay my SIPs towards my ELSS schemes?
Frankly speaking, I would have been happy with the concept of old is gold. That means, old timer first DTC draft, the best one, top of the list. Why? There was tax rate of 10% only for 10 lakhs income. And up to 25 lakhs, it was 20% only. And I still feel that if this type of tax structure is introduced into the country, then what happens? We will have no black money at all. But then comes in second phase of DTC, where everything is turned around and new tax rates almost at par. And again in the new DTC we find problem care to be taken with regard to insurance payment, ELSS and so on. And as on today morning, even after our introduction of the finance bill, we are not sure what will happen. In this context, I would like to suggest to the investors that they should continue investing in ELSS, continue investing in insurance policies, because I strongly feel under no circumstances government can introduce levy of income tax on the situation from retrospective effect. If they do so, it will be illegal. I hope you will agree with my viewpoint, and the panelists will also agree with me.
So till 1st April 2012, I am fine.
I hope I'm fine. But to find the correct answer, we have to go to the direct tax code. Finally,
Which is not ready, right?
Not yet ready, and finally not mainly introduced. It should become the act. Unfortunately, even on today, we are not aware the likely schedule of introduction, passing of the act, and the day when it will be ready.
Finesh, let me come to you on this point, just to extend it. You know, ELSS was one scheme that actually brought in a lot of us into the equity markets in the first place.
Sure.
We are a country which even today only 4% of our domestic savings makes it to equity markets.
Yes.
Would you be very disappointed if he knocked that part off?
I think it is an important product because, people come with, there's a lock-in period in that particular product, which, makes investors stay for 3 to 5 years. The 3-year lock-in helps creating the long-term avenue for investment for investors. So it clearly is an important product from that point of view. And it did had, significant impact. We had a lot of investors coming with a long-term point of view, which was never the case. Earlier, equity investing was never considered a serious long-term investing 5 years back, when this was becoming a rage and this came into an important area. I think it's an important product. It benefits if it continues this way.
I hear Mr. Lakhotia and everyone outlining the curse of inflation. For many, many years we've been saying the biggest threat to our savings is inflation.
Certainly.
Because it takes away money and we don't realize it. We think we've got a 4% return and we feel very happy. But the fact is, we are in an environment where inflation is double digit.
Sure.
In this kind of a scenario is therefore equity. And again, the question I'm asking you is that the general perception of equity is it is risky and I am likely to lose all my money. How much of a scenario is that? If I extend my time frame of being invested in the market, what is the probability that I could lose all my money? Has that happened historically? I know we can't predict in the future, but historically.
Data suggests, if you consistently invest over a period of 5 years, the chances of you losing all your money doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's what the data suggests. Now, we have seen the worst of the worst crisis, at least in our lifetimes and possibly the last 70, 80 years, in 2008. Now, if you look at that kind of a scenario, even in that kind of a scenario, we came back quickly because people and investors gave, the money, the time in the market. You need to spend some time in the market to really get the returns. So I think even when this couldn't happen in such a distressed scenario in 2008, I think that kind of an expectation of losing all the money if you give it to professional investors with a time frame in mind, this is not something you have to value every day. I think that has to be taken away. The minute it is there, I think the returns which investors can earn will be pretty reasonable, given the economic growth which our country is seeing. Also, we have seen, there has been an international study which used to talk about people in, mutual funds making, investors in mutual funds making less returns than mutual funds themselves delivering returns. Primarily because this was significant amount of investor churn, because people were timing the market, timing their investment, and not systematically investing over the years. I think if you do that systematic investing in mutual funds with a time frame in mind, or in equity markets, some time frame in mind, I think these are very good markets to be in. And I think these are reasonably good hedges to inflation which you can find.
Okay, we're going to take some questions now. You need to raise your hand and I'll get a mic across to you. First question, please. Yes, go ahead. Yeah. Please identify yourself and ask your question.
Sir, myself Om Prakash. I want to have some exposure in infrastructure sector. So my question is that should I invest into infrastructure bond or infrastructure fund?
Okay. I think that would depend largely on, again, the goal that you have and the risk appetite that you have. Do you see infrastructure funds doing better the next 2-3 years? Because last 18 months they haven't done well. And that's largely because the stocks haven't done.
Certainly. I think the possibility of the sector doing well exists, given that, we are possibly looking at weaker or lower interest rate environment as we pass through over the next 3-6 months. Hopefully oil should cool off to give that cushion to the government to lead to lower inflation in the system and then lead to better availability of capital for the space.
Yes.
Neeraj Agarwal. I wish to know, recently FM has introduced some taxes on insurance policies. don't you feel these taxes would be going anti against the changes which have been brought in September in ULIPs and the reduction of commission? Won't they clash with each other, and ultimately the distributor is getting affected more because the end result is going to be passed on to the investor?
What we believe is that it is going to have a very, very marginal impact on return of the scheme. So let's say if you were to estimated return was 10%, it could be a few basis point variation on that. So if you are a long term, again, it depends on the asset allocation within the insurance scheme. I would never buy a traditional plan purely from return point of view. So that is a misnomer. You know, a lot of us, we make a commitment to a 20-30 year traditional plan from returns point of view. We should not do that. So obviously, because the returns on traditional plans are lower, the impact could be a little more.
My question is, farmers have been allowed to invest in mutual funds. How it is going to affect the mutual funds?
You know, in our interactions with investors, you know, when they come down and meet us, people would be very happy with this KYC-driven investing into India directly. Obviously, it's a challenge because it has to meet the local regulatory requirements there, but it gives access to foreign investors to invest in, say, India fund managers, fund managers running money out of India at very, very low cost. The cost structures are very, very low here.
I am a CFP. I want to
You should be here.
yeah, thank you. I want to ask a question to Mr. Lakhotia. Since we are discussing on DTC coming next year, there is a categorization, illogical categorization in India. Because in America, the category is married household, single, unmarried, married joint, head of the family. Here we have on the basis of age, which is slightly illogical.
In fact, on this point, this is a very brilliant question you've asked, and it's a very progressive thought process that financial planning approach be incorporated in the budget exercise itself. We talk about financial inclusion, Vivek, and we have one seminar and then we go and forget about it. So financial inclusion has to be looked at in a very strategic way, where it is embedded in the policy making process of the government, in economic policy, and if it's weaved into the budget in terms of, let's say, if you are married with older children in the age group of 10 to 16, you buy a certain plan, for you it may be tax exempt. So, if you bring those kind of schemes, in the budget, you will make people aware of financial planning.
Okay, on that happy note, I think we've run out of time. We end this discussion here. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming, and thank you very much, panelists, for taking time out. And we hope that, I think the big lesson out of all of this is that we all need to go back and start focusing on how we're going to build our wealth for the long term. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming by.
Thank you.